Good morning, welcome to Morning Review. This is Kim speaking on Monday, the 10th of October. So, looking at the euro dollar first, and well, euro looked like it was breaking properly out of this daily wedge. Let me just bring this into a bigger picture. There we go. Looks like it's properly breaking from that daily wedge on Friday, but failed to do so, and in the end closed up pretty much into a relatively bullish bar. Now, whether it can follow that through is another matter. At the moment, we're seeing the sell-off that is running to the daily 50, 34, etc. By the looks of it, just short of the daily 34, but it's run towards that area and sold off at the moment. It's not made the clearest of charts, and particularly when you come back to the 60 minute, it looks like it's got some further downside possible. There's the daily pivot sitting below us at the moment, so could well be a near-term target from there. The pattern is still very choppy and very sideways in real terms. So I'm coming back to this daily for a moment, and you can just sort of see it's erring to the downside. That's the only thing I would say. The lower highs, lower lows that sit in the pattern, it certainly does seem to err much more south side. It's whether or not at the moment, as we can just see the 4-hourly 8 just holding up as a support vehicle there effectively, whether that can hold. More like as well, pretty high probability of it breaking through that down to the daily pivot, which is below. And if we do so, it's just then the reaction to the daily pivot. A break of it will see us running more possibly, more towards the south side and maybe down to the S1 towards Friday's lows. Would be a logical sort of location. Any support on it? Well, I'd be then looking for a proper reversal and maybe another push up towards that hourly 200. Cable obviously had its misfortune on Friday. Now we'll be doing the weekly video later on, but there's certainly something I would say be aware of. It's already been warned. It can happen again, and I think in the current situation, we could have a plunge at any stage in cable with the way the markets are so jittery. Not necessarily during a trading day so much because of the volumes in there, but on the light volumes, it's something that could happen. It's not to say either that we couldn't suddenly get a spike upwards through a similar session, causing a short stampede to buy. So it could happen either way. It's not a one-way train, but we'll see. But for now, erring on the south side, we've got the weekly pivot above us, which looks a bit out of contention at the moment. However, it depends on the gain. We see how we react. We're almost down to that daily pivot, only a few pips away from it now. As we push on towards the daily pivot, it may give us a guide to what we're going to expect for the rest of the morning here. Now, one thing I would say is morning, because it's a US bank holiday today, so it could be a very quiet afternoon. What time is Columbus Day today? Yep. So could be quite a quiet afternoon in the forex markets on that basis. And generally, we do get a quieter day after non-farm payrolls. So it may be one of those mornings. If we can't get a trade out in the morning, we just may not get a trade. But who knows? With the volatility we've seen around the pound, etc., it may just help us through and give some trades this afternoon as well. But not holding my breath on that one at the moment. Looking at dollar yen, and it's retraced just short of the weekly pivot. Bit of a shame, because I'd rather have seen that taken out. It's always nicer when you've done that and then you've got a clear way ahead. It does look bullish at the moment on the bigger pictures on this shorter time frame. Possibly not quite so. It's got the lower highs in here, lower lows, and it's done at least 2 lower lows and 2 lower highs. Now, whether this is a pattern that's worked its way out, we'll see. If it breaks through, it's how it reacts to it. If it gets to it back to its daily pivot, how it reacts to that. If it holds there, starts rolling over, well, then perhaps we got some more downside. On Friday, we certainly went through this sort of pattern, and it's really whether this is a pivotal point last Thursday where we saw the highs coming in and it started rolling over, or are we just in a retrace? We've just had a retracement, a bit of profit taking before we push on. Aussie dollar. Not quite so clear now. It's last 3 days, 4 days actually, we had a doji, okay, down by a doji, and then we're sitting here again. It's probably the most indecisive of all at the moment. It's not the clearest of charts whatsoever. It really flicked around and ended up on a more of the same effectively. The doji bar on Friday, you see that through here. The previous trend looks like it was broken. It could, and I mean, we're seeing effectively a high low. There's a little bit of a gap still maybe below us, but if it can, it's already hit the daily pivot. If it can start building on where it is now, maybe we'll push up through these highs, head up for the R1 and yesterday's seems like yesterday, Friday's high there. So there's the possibility this may be just on a switch point here. But as I said, from the daily perspective, a little bit uncertain. It's run into a slope in 500, which is still facing south. I'm just looking at these other moving averages, and they're all the 4 hourlies south facing, majority of them. We'll see. It's bigger picture to me, really, with these lower highs in that we clear lower highs on the 4 hourlies, etc. It still looks, as I say, bearish, but it could be, as I say, a pivotal day. Right, okay, and finally the Canadian dollar. This looks a bit clearer on the bigger picture here. We're still getting the higher highs, higher lows coming through. It's air kissed if not touched the weekly pivot already on the 4 hourlies there, and it's now caught the daily pivot. So this really, again, it's that sort of, if you can get back above the daily pivot, there's a gap from the close which may want to be completed. A couple of gaps last night. Of course, got a just quick look at oil. Oil slipped off quite quickly from that $50 barrel that we saw on Friday. Probably not a massive surprise. If it can start strengthening again, of course, that gives us the better chance of some more Canadian downside. But in which case we'd be looking possibly at a break of the trend line that's sort of running across from Friday's lows through to this morning's low. If it starts breaking that way, well, we could have some decent points down to the S1 and maybe even back down to Friday's lows there. We'd need quite a push on oil, I think, to do that at the moment with the strength of the US dollar. Alternatively, a push up above this daily pivot, which could happen quite quickly, give us a retrace above that, and maybe it'll be on the long side looking for the Friday highs. And well, the daily R1's quite a long way up there, but it's a possibility. We have been posting these higher lows, higher highs pictures. As I said, data-wise today, well, we got the US on holiday, bank holiday, Canadian bank holiday, dollar, yen bank holiday, but yen, Japanese bank holiday even. So 3 bank holidays sitting across there with the markets. I expect it to be possibly a bit of a movement this morning, but as I said before, it's often quiet following non-farms. But then this afternoon, unless there's some speakers out there, so something to create some volatility, it could well go quiet. Have a great one. Bye for now.